Hello and welcome. I was thinking about this the other day. How do we find a real, sacred purpose in our daily work? In the things we do every single day. How can the labor of our hands connect to a higher calling? Let's take a look at this together.
Our whole journey today really starts with this powerful line from the Apostle Paul. And this is so much more than just a comment about money. It's really a foundational principle for a life of integrity, of service, and it sets the stage for everything we're about to explore.
All right, so let's really dive into this core idea. How did Paul, who was one of the most influential figures you can imagine in the early church, manage to live out his ministry without ever being a financial burden on the very people he was serving?
And this detail is absolutely crucial. Paul's manual labor, his job, it wasn't some kind of side hustle. It wasn't something separate from his spiritual calling at all. It was completely integrated into his life. By working as a tent maker, he was showing everyone that faith isn't just for a special time or place. It's for the workshop, it's for the marketplace, it's for every single part of our lives.
So the big question is, how did he do it? How did he manage to combine that kind of demanding physical work with a mission that would literally change the world? Well, the answer is just so inspiring, and it shows a life of incredible, purposeful integration.
Paul's life was really a masterclass in living this out. While he was working his trade, he didn't stop being an apostle, one of the very first messengers of the faith. His workshop actually became his mission field. He shared the good news with the people he met, he used his position to help people who were in real trouble, and he even used what he earned to support his fellow ministers. It was this seamless blend of the practical and the spiritual.
This quote just perfectly captures the power of his example. Think about it. His hands, calloused and worn from his work, weren't a sign of some kind of lesser spiritual authority. No way. In fact, they added to his credibility. They were this visible proof that his message was pure, that it wasn't motivated by any kind of personal gain. It just gave his words this undeniable integrity.
But get this, being self-supporting was only the beginning. His generosity just flowed from his labor. He wasn't just earning enough to scrape by, he was earning so that he could give. He provided for his companions like Luke and Timothy. The text even says he went hungry himself sometimes just so he could relieve the needs of others. What a profound model of selfless service.
Now here's where it gets really interesting. Paul's example wasn't just a personal choice. It was actually a powerful counter-narrative to a belief that was gaining a lot of steam in the early church and even in the wider culture. So you had these two competing views. On one side, this idea was popping up that to truly serve God, you had to be completely separate from regular worldly work. And this kind of echoed the way the Roman Empire saw things, where manual labor was often looked down on, as something unfit for deep thinkers or teachers. But then there's Paul's life. It just offered this different, much more accessible path. He showed that consecrated or dedicated lay people could advance the cause of God right where they were, right in the middle of their daily labor.
And the impact of this, it was massive. Just think how empowering that would have been. All of a sudden, regular people, weavers, potters, farmers, they could look at their own work not as some distraction from their faith, but as a potential platform for it. His life gave real dignity and spiritual meaning to everyday toil.
Which brings us to the crucial question. Is this just a nice story about an apostle from a long, long time ago? Or does this principle of consecrated labor, does it speak to us right here, right now?
This is the question we really have to ask ourselves. Was Paul's way of life, this integration of work and faith, was that a unique thing just for him? Or is it actually a model for all of us to think about in our own lives?
Well, the answer is pretty clear. The call to ministry, the call to make a real difference in the world, isn't just for people who have been formally ordained. It extends to everyone. It extends to what are called consecrated laymen, people from all walks of life, people like you and me, who are called to play an important part in the work of helping others.
And this brings us right to the heart of it all, the ultimate motivation. If we're not working for earthly status or for a bigger paycheck, what is the true reward for a life of this kind of dedicated, self-sacrificing labor?
The driving force here is something so much bigger than a paycheck. For a self-sacrificing servant, the real compensation, the deep reason they do what they do, it's just not found in the accounting books of this world. It's rooted in a much, much higher calling. And right here, this is the final beautiful truth. Our commission, our assignment, our purpose, it comes from heaven, and so it's to heaven that we look for our reward when the work is done. That perspective, it changes everything. It fills our daily tasks with this eternal significance, knowing that we are working for an audience of one.
So I guess I'll just leave you with this thought to carry with you. As you go about your day, in your office, in your home, out in your community, how can you start to see your work through this lens? In what ways, big or small, can your labor become a sacred service, a part of a divine commission that's been entrusted uniquely to you?